Hello guys, welcome to another skin in the game here in the chat 4.0. This one here is with Joao Mancini. He is a great leader and experienced guy working wood and florist business. So he's a very specific market, so please watch that, share that as much as you can and give us your feedback and your like. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Thank you. Welcome guys to another chat 4.0 here. It's my pleasure to have here Joao Mancini, a great leader and experienced guy working in a very specific industry, subject from the industry. I will not even try to explain what is the subject, Joao. So please introduce a little bit about yourself, your family, your hobbies, your school background, and what exactly subject of the industry you work, please.
Firstly, thank you very much for inviting me to this meeting. It's a great pleasure to be here and talk with you. A long time I don't see you. And I hope that I can contribute positively with all topics that you'll be approaching, despite my poor English. Okay. Well, my name is João Carlos. People know me as João, but in my professional environment, know me as Mancini. Regarding my family, I've been married to Marlene for 27 years. We are a very happy couple. We love each other. We don't have children, but we have nieces and nephews that we love them. In terms, so I can't forget to mention because I have a small pet. That name is Barney. That's chief of our house. So I need to remember that. Regarding my favorite hobby, for instance, I don't work out, as you see, and I don't practice any exercise or sports. But I like to go to the beach on weekends whenever I can, and to get together with my family members and my friends and making barbecue and also drink some beers. I think that this is quality of life as well.
Yeah.
And I like to ride with my jet ski sometimes. Okay, but now I like to returning 57 years ago when I was born in Curitiba, and I lived in my parents' house together with them and with the two brothers and the two sisters until I turned 23 years old, and I majored in forest engineering at the Federal University. And after college, I have two graduate degrees, one of them in industrial economy, another one is in business management and planning. And we have another courses inside of the companies that I work that helped me a lot in my career. I got my first job exactly on the day that I graduated, so I had luck. I started with luck. I was hired as forest engineer for a fabric industry that they had only a small area of eucalyptus plantation. That's 3,000 hectares, aiming to produce wood chips. That's the biomass to feed their boilers to produce steam for their industrial process. But after around these 6 years, I decided that it was time to change my career, to improve my career. So by searching a new job, and fortunately, in a short time, I was successful, and I got a new job in a paper company located in northeast of Paraná, where I live today. That's a very small city. That name is Jaguariúna. And I work in the silviculture sector. Silviculture sector is responsible for soil preparation, seedling nursing, planting, treatments, forest protections, and so on. And was very interesting. After just 6 months, the director of the company, he called me and said, I have another proposal for you. And I'd like that you take over the position of commercial manager of the company. That was funny for me because I said, why? I never thought about this, and I don't have any experience in market. So he said, no, we are monitoring you. You have the right profile, the people that you need to take over this position. So I said, okay. I need your support, and I can take over this position. I worked as a head of commercial department for 8 years in that company. So the Norway company that we worked decided in 2000 to invest in timberlands and forests and lands. And then an international bank, it's a large international bank, acquired the company. That was very interesting because the executives of the bank, they were carrying out the due diligence process, and they are aware about our expertise in running forest business here in Brazil. So they decided to invite us to create a new company. That's a great opportunity for us in that time, in 2001. So three partners and I, we created a company. The name is Valor Florestal, that we are a service provider for the company. We've been working with them since 2001. That's a great challenge that we assume in that time. So I think that is this in short terms about
Nice.
that.
Nice. So the company that you work today, it's the Valor Florestal. Can you explain for us a little bit what exactly the Valor does and how big is that market in Brazil or in South America or in the world? Like explain like in a very simple way, because remember that's a very specific area. So probably
yes. Okay. Well, first an operator company, a company with we consider with a high level expertise to manage the whole chain of forestry investments, focus on pine and eucalyptus plantations, aiming always to maximize the financial return and mitigate the risks of the investments. And then we respect the local ecosystems and having a high level of social responsibility. Okay, and in other words, I could say that we manage the whole forest investment cycle from land acquisition, yes, to product sales to different segments of the industry. So we sell raw material for different supply chains or different industries, forest industries such as pulp and paper companies, panel board companies, furniture companies, and the doors and the remanufacturing industries. So many different companies. We've been selling raw materials such as pulpwood and the saw logs to they process. After they process and they export the products. Our headquarters is in the northeast of Paraná, and we have branches in 6 states: Bahia, Tocantins, Mato Grosso do Sul, Minas Gerais, Paraná, and Santa Catarina. And currently we've been running around the 80,000 hectares of pine and eucalyptus plantation, more than 160,000 hectares of land, and we've been selling around the 2.5 million cubic meters of wood from planted trees, which means around the 190 loaded trucks per day, considering all investments in different states.
And just in Brazil?
Just in Brazil.
It's a very huge market.
Yes, in terms of market, the Brazilian market, this is what we do. But in terms of Brazilian market, the total Brazilian forest business segment comprises diversified forest base, as I mentioned, and also independent forest investors. They have together a planted area of approximately 9 million hectares, but 90 million hectares is a great size, but just accounted for 1% of the Brazilian territory. Just to have a comparison, benchmark, agribusiness sector here in Brazil cover around 7.5% of the total Brazilian territory. So the wood consumption here in Brazil reached around 210 million cubic meters for these different industries.
Nice.
So, okay, it's this.
So I can see that Valor works a lot with the environment also. I check your website and you guys have some nice programs to defend the environment. Can you talk a little bit about that for us?
Yes. Our company has been operating according to the principles and criteria of the International Environmental and Certification Organization. We are always focused on protecting local ecosystems such as native forests, fauna, rivers, and the soils against erosion, for instance, in the regions where the investments are established. But it's important to note that we plant trees on degradable land and they are unproductive pastures, not cutting and down, for instance, in native forests to replace them for planted trees. That's important to mention. And each forest project, just to have an idea, the untouchable preservation area can reach 50% of the total property considered the legal reserve. That's law that you need to keep in the area, and also the permanent preservation area and the hedge of the rivers. Additional forestry investments in planted trees are making a positive contribution to carbon sequestration and they helping mitigate the emission of greenhouse gases and the climate change. Always concerned about environmental preservation. It's interesting to highlight that we have an important project developed by our team that is called Project Tangará, which is an environmental education program for children with environmental lessons given at the municipal schools, like in some regions where students learn about endemic birds in the region. So that's interesting because when children raise awareness and they learn about how to protect the ecosystem, how to protect the nature, so they can share what they learn in the field in their families and in their communities as well. So I think that it's very important to raise the mindset of the children.
Yeah, it's much more easy for us to teach children than teach someone that's an adult already and already has the behavior to do something wrong. So
for sure.
Yeah, that's very nice. So
yeah.
Probably the projects that Valor works, it's everything big, and you need to handle that with many different people and different companies, like third companies. Can you explain for us, like, first, how is the steps of a project inside of Valor when a customer goes to Valor, say, I want to work, I want to like make a project with you guys, and how you guys handle this project and keep the people engaging with the project?
So first, we need to build a strategic view for the project, okay? And also we started to work to determine the premises for this, the assumptions and underwriting for this project. And also we need to start to do market research to understand clearly the relationship between supply and demand, and not in short term, but in mid and long term. And they understand clearly who gonna be our main customers, who gonna be the competitors in each region, what their strategies, for instance, we need to understand it.
How long does that? So you say long term. How long in like middle term?
Always we're talking about the 20 years.
20 years.
20 years. Sometimes we are analyzing wood flow, cash flows until 50 years. So it's a long-term investments when you are talking about the planted trees. So you can harvest eucalyptus with 6-7 years, but you have more than one cycle in the same land. And also, if you are planting pine, the cycle is 15 years until 25 years, depending the management model that you apply in each property, what's the strategy of the company. So different companies have different strategies to put in place in the field. So it depends on this. So we analyze it, and after that we have all information structures, we prepare great financial analysis in terms of analysis of a cash flow to determine the NPV and IRR of this project and determine the discount rate. So after it, the final, we prepared a great presentation for an investment committee in US. That there's a team with a high level of expertise in R&D and also investments. They represent the investors, so they analyze the project that you present for them, and so they can approved or disapproved and set some recommendations for us in the project. So I think that in short terms is this our steps in terms of one project, the first project.
Nice. And where you see that market in the next 5 to 10 years? We see a lot of new technologies.
Technology is advancing a lot in our area as well, because, for instance, we are using drones, but not only to make some moves or moves for several things like to mapping. Now you can use satellite images to see the forest with there is some problems with the damages. We use technology to control the fires, for instance, like cameras that you can access remotely. So now some companies are testing driverless tractors in the field. So there are many things happening. So like drones to apply herbicides. So there are many things happening in our sector as well. And we expect that the forest business segment continues to grow in the medium and long term, because the demand for plant forest products will continue to increase from industrial investments, which are underway here in Brazil. Just to have an idea, now 35.5 billion reais are invested in many in pulp and paper companies, So in the other segments, they are invested as well. And you need to think that when you start in a company, you need to have the raw material to supply the company. So you need to plant at least if it was short fiber eucalyptus, you need to plant 7 years before, 6-7 years before previously. And in terms of pine, 15 years. So we need to prepare it. So we understand that you continue to grow. And also, we believe that the consumers and the end markets will continue to purchase more products considered to be environment friendly, that can contribute to protect the ecosystems. So additionally, we expect that the population will increase the demand for manufactured products from planted trees. For instance, just to have an idea, in this year, the demand is booming for sanitary papers, toilet papers, disposal diapers, products made with dissolved pulp, and also packaging pulp for food, beverages, pharmaceutical products, so hygiene products. And in this year, as you know, because the lockdowns and social distance, the e-commerce channels just booming. So the delivery now just booming. The demand for paper packaging, the wooden packaging just increase. And we understand that in the near and the mid-term, you continue to have this high demand for this type of products here in Brazil and all over the world.
Yeah, here in the US, it's very normal. The houses are made almost 100% just with wood. Comparing with Brazil, it's very different. The house in Brazil is normal with the other material.
Yeah.
But here in the US, everything is with wood. Like my house here, you see outside the house, you see, this house is made with stones, but it's not stone, it's wood. It's a fake stone on top.
Yeah, that's very interesting what you are saying now, because I need to track this market, because our customers, for instance, they are exporting to US. Just to have an idea, Brazil will export to US a great amount of lumber and also remanufactured products. So they go to the housing market. And so always I am analyzing, not in a monthly basis, in a daily basis, we're analyzing the housing market. You understand what's going on in US, for instance. Just now, it's very interesting things it's happening this year. After the lockdown, we saw that many people will stay at home and start to invest to improve their homes, and like change the fencings of the houses, or the deckings, or repair some parts of the windows or doors. And the other thing that we are seeing that just booming now, the housing market is recovering a lot, and the inventory in US is very low now. The prices is going up as well. That's interesting. So we are monitoring the companies strengthening their business, and Brazil now they are making a lot of profit, a lot of money. It's a good profit this year, despite this crisis that you can see after the COVID-19 pandemic now, outbreak just started in February here.
If you could return when you were 18, João, and you could give an advice, or if you could give an advice for the young generation that is planning to jump in that market, very, very good market, what advice you give to us?
Interesting question. But I never thought about this, but perhaps in my case, it's to give another advice always is difficult. But firstly, we need to continue to study and learning, and you work hard. But it's important that to avoid to be a workaholic. So build a balance between work and in your life. That's very important. Trust in yourself, and be patient, and making a good relationship with others, respect to others. I always say, treat the others as you like that the others treat you. So these things is very important. Be humble. So this is not technical, but this is behaviors, personal behavior. That's, in my point of view, it's very important. So get engaged in teamwork, for instance, showing initiative. So remember that the ladder has many steps, and you need to climb step by step, and not to try to jump from the bottom to the top. So in only one jump. Yes. So make decisions. Not be afraid to make mistakes. And if you make mistakes, remember that you can't make the same mistake again. So you can make others, but not the same.
Yeah.
You need to learn with the mistake that you make. That's very interesting. So many things that this is a kind of device that I give to myself. As always, I try to follow it. And one of the most important things that I always say is be humble. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, be happy. Everything.
That's important.
Yeah.
This chat here, it's focused to talk with lean manufacturing, managing people. And I know that industry that you work, it's a little bit different, but how do you see the lean manufacturing, and if that apply for you?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know exactly what the means, but in my point of view, I think that optimization and rationalization of processes, aiming to improve quality of products, increase productivity, and decrease costs, like zero waste, okay, in the process. So in my point of view is this, but perhaps in our sector we could apply in silviculture and the harvesting process. That's logistics, and you have some technology involved in this.
I'm pretty sure you guys apply that, but you call it with a different name.
Yeah. That's
João,
right.
Can you advise us a book to read that you say this is a good book and it will make a difference on our life?
Yes, one book that I read that I liked, Good to Great, the Jim Collins.
Nice.
This book I recommend for those that like to read about business. This book tells how companies reach the long-lasting success. I think that's very interesting. Jim Collins and his team analyze the companies for more than 6 years to reach in a conclusion of the survey. I think that's very interesting book.
Nice. João, thank you very much for your time. We're getting the end here. You brought a lot of nice subjects for us here. Your business, your market, it's very, very specific. I think until now is the most specific one that we got here in the Chat 4.0. I know you are a very, very busy guy, so thank you for finding a spot in your agenda to make that chat here with us. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much again. It's my great pleasure to be here and talking with you.
Thank you, João. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye.